Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Raw Intuition Health Show, episode 16. And yet again, I am just a few minutes late, so I think you just expect it by now, right? It's just kind of the way that things go. But happy to be here. Happy to have, another terrific guest with us today. We're going to be joined by my amazing friend, Pele Chen, who I met back in 2014 when we attended the level 2 course of Dr. Morse's detoxification specialist certification course. And so Pele is also known as Goddess of the Gut. She's a natural wellness specialist who has expertise in regenerative detoxification. She's a licensed massage therapist, hopefully I say this right, Budokan yoga instructor. She's also a specialist in forest yoga instruction. And her goal is to hydrate, nourish, and regenerate the body through breath, movement, touch, and suggesting food to repair, revitalize, clear blockages, and restore energy. So she is somebody that I look up to and really respect the work that she does and everything she's about. So today we're going to be talking about the dirty secrets, 6 dirty secrets to an immaculate gut, right? So we're going to help you improve your gut health. And Pele is a expert in this realm. So let's bring her in here. What's up, Pele? Great to have you on the channel.
Oh my gosh, I am so happy to be here for your sweet 16th episode. Yay!
Yes, thank you so much.
The favorite
Yes.
year of my life, by the way, sweet 16.
Oh, really? Very cool. I love
Yes.
that. Nice. All right. Well, so Pele is in Florida, so she is soaking up that beautiful sunshine. Pele, do you want to just give just a little bit of an introduction to yourself and, what got you into this lifestyle and how has it impacted your life?
Yes, definitely. Let's say I started 23, 22 years ago. I had a daughter, 2 years old. I basically had a divorce. I got a divorce around that time, and I had to take care of my child by myself. And I was in massage school. I didn't have enough money to have a babysitter. So it was like I had to do all this thing. This was stressful living. And to be able to take care of a child, educate yourself so that you can have freedom to make money and feel well doing it and take care of your child in the healthiest, safest way. I realized I wasn't well. Like every single morning, I woke up with nausea. I woke up with headaches. I had a congestion. I was constipated. I couldn't have a bowel movement. Maybe every 4 days, I had a bowel movement.
Wow.
And I literally had different types of skin conditions, lumps in my armpits, fibroids. I had so many gastroenteritis, tonsillitis. I was suffering with pink eye, viruses, herpes virus flare-ups, and all these different conditions that we don't realize we have full control over.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time I was doing yoga, I was in massage school, and my massage teacher was a yoga instructor also, and she invited me to her yoga class. She saw how tight I was when we were doing massages, and I couldn't touch my toes at the time back then, and much less like my abs, my stomach was so weak. I was inflamed all over. Like I was in such poor health.
Yeah.
And you couldn't look at me until I was still thin. I was, still 135 pounds and 5'11". So I didn't look like I was not well, but I was not well, and mentally, physically. So she taught me this yoga, and I was nauseous every single class, and I was in so much severe pain, and my stomach would cramp up, and I would cough. A lot of mucus would come out of my body when I was doing yoga. And she started talking about the diet and asking me what I ate and stuff like this. And I'm from Jamaica. I grew up on dairy. I grew up on flesh, 3 to 5 portions a day. We had cereal growing up with milk every single day. We had ice cream, we had butter, we had cheese, loads of cheese with bread, cheese with bun, cheese on, your salad, cheese on a burger. these things was a part of my diet. So I lived a lot of high protein, high fat, high starch. And I was always very congested, always very backed up. I had so much dehydration. I was always drinking of water and trying to quench my thirst. Oh, juices was just, what you call it? Like sodas was what I had a lot of. I drank a lot of sodas back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, the road to diabetes was on the way. The road to cancer was on the way, heart disease, heart attack, all these symptoms were in my family. I had poor vision since I was 4 years old. And I had severe tonsillitis, which they threatened to take out my tonsils. And my grandmother said, no, she took care of me for a short while in my life. And she was like, no, she's keeping her tonsils. And I'm thankful to this day because I had such swollen glands here. And so my whole lymphatic system was fully congested. And when my yoga teacher told me that I should start eating more raw foods, I didn't understand what that meant. And I was still eating chicken, and I was eating it with salads, and I was still having some dairy. And so I was eating more raw food, but I was still eating a lot of the dead foods and processed foods and animal-based foods. And I was feeling a little better, but I wasn't getting there fast enough. I still had so much. I think I was going through heavy detox when I met this woman because I started to change my diet and not think, now I know back. Now we know that is really what happened for me. As I continued eating more raw food, I got more sick. I had more congestion like release. I had more phlegm come out. This one day I had seen when I, blow my nose or cough it up, you look at it, you have to see what's coming out. So at first it was clear, then it got yellow, then it got green, then it got brown, black, red. I had all these different colors, and I thought about why that would happen to me. And I know for me, all of my life, I had been suppressing asthma, suppressing coughs, suppressing colds, suppressing mucus. I had a stepfather who smoked cigarettes and blew it where we all could just breathe it right in. So I was intoxicated with that kind of smoke from a very young age. And I mean, even though I had no idea like dairy was doing this, cheese was, cheese and ice cream. We ate ice cream every night. It was like a dessert. It was like, before bed, right? This is what helped put us to bed. And it was an antidepressant too, which I didn't realize till years later. And so, we don't understand, not an antidepressant, sorry, it's a depressant. Dairy is a depressant, sorry, not an antidepressant, it's a depressant. So anyway, I changed the diet, and that's when my journey began. I realized I had to stop eating all the cooked foods, and I, for 10 months, went on a fruit fast. For 10 months, I only ate fruit only. Like that was my longest span of being on solely fruit. And I saw my health soar. I saw my energy rise. I got out of bed with energy where before I couldn't get out of bed with energy. I had to take caffeine to get me some energy. I had to do something to stimulate me. Taking protein shakes and things like that, I thought was helping. All that stuff was just making things worse, suppressing me, making my stomach more congested, more, diarrhea, constipation, all the different things that can happen in the bowels, and parasites. Highly parasitic. And I could tell because I was always feeling hungry, even right after I ate. And, it's something we don't connect. And so anyway, once I changed the diet and became this high fruitarian, wow, I felt amazing. Everything started to, everything was fixed. Everything was fixed on its own. I found that is what I did. And my goal back then was to be more of like this caveman that not necessarily was the hunter, because I can't really do too much hunting. I could fish, yeah, I could do all that. I know how to hunt. I mean, we grew up in Jamaica. I did a lot of hunting. We saw slaughters. I know how to gut chicken and fish and cows, and it's terrible. The goats, the rabbits, the birds. We ate all these animals, and who knew that in return we would feel just as dead as they ended up. Right. And I mean, literally, it completely just eradicated my life system. And I can't say that I'm 100% raw, I definitely have my days where I love my asparagus, I love my potatoes. I eat soup, I red pea soup, I make vegan red pea soup, and those are my cheats. And I actually still occasionally will have things that I probably know better. And I just know that when we have weaknesses like this, that sometimes just to keep the fruits on a consistent basis, to keep the raw food as the highest amount, that's what really keeps me going and
Yeah.
feeling strong. 52 now, and I still feel like actually I feel better than when I was 16, you know.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
the story.
Well, yeah, the raw food is definitely working for you. And so yeah, and I'm the same. I'm not 100% raw either. It's I think having, if you can do 100% and you're, feeling really great, which, I do when I eat as much as, raw as possible, but I keep a little bit of balance in there with, like you said, potatoes and things like that when I need to. So, yeah, I think that's cool. But yeah, I relate to a lot of the things you said. I also had constantly congested lymph nodes in my throat, in my neck, and thankfully they didn't take my tonsils out either. But I'm actually a little surprised they didn't, or at least they didn't attempt to. But
Right.
yeah, I also went multiple days between bowel movements and all these things. So yeah, this lifestyle clearly has helped both of us overcome a lot of these gut issues and just overall health issues, lymphatic issues. And so yeah, I'm super excited to get into this topic with you, and I appreciate you sharing all of that with us. Very inspiring. Yeah, Tessa says she's 52. Right. You could pass for 32. So that's yeah, for
I
sure.
got carded the other day.
Did you? I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. So that is incredible. And again, thank you everybody for being here with us. We got Carl, Tessa, Jax, Annie, Mary, so many, Sherry, so many great souls here with us today. So thanks everybody for taking time out of your Sunday to hang out with us and get some inspiration from Pele and this discussion. So also, I didn't mention, as we usually announce at the beginning of the show, as you know, we're going to be giving away some gifts in the Q&A session, and so I will be, because the topic is gut health, I'm going to, of course, give somebody a copy of 5-Star Digestion, the ebook. So if you ask a question, you'll be in the drawing to be selected to receive this gift, and also Pele has generously offered. She's now making crystal jewelry. Is that what it is?
Oh, I sell the different types of jewelry, gemstones out there, from citrine to quartzes, the malachite, and basically wanted to offer like a pack of 4 bracelets to the first three, question and answer person today,
Yeah,
people.
yeah, that's
And
amazing.
you get to choose the colors you like for yourself. If you're a guy, there are actually men's bracelets too.
Wow. That is so
So
cool. I am so pumped for whoever's going to get that. And we're again, just like the last time we had an actual physical gift. Sorry to the international people, unless you want to pay for shipping, but we're gonna keep this to U.S. Contestants or question people only. Um, and so yeah, but I'll give away 3 ebooks, and mine can go, since it's a virtual product, it doesn't have to be or it doesn't have to be in the US, but for Pele's gift, we'll keep that to the US. And yeah, so I'm excited for that. But before that happens, we're going to talk about our tips and just our experience, and what we believe are important ways to create immaculate gut health, to really create a vibrant gut, because all health begins in the gut. That's the hub of the body. Everything stems from that. And so if we don't have a solid, really high functioning gut, then everything else in the body is going to be on a faulty foundation. And so let's get into this topic discussion. Pele, do you want to start us off with like what's the first thing that came to mind when when I brought this topic to you?
7 fruits a day in the colors of the rainbow
Nice.
is my biggest tip. That's something I try to follow myself, and I've been doing that for 20 years now. And I don't necessarily get exactly that 7 fruits in the colors of the rainbow.
Hmm.
And I don't always get 7 portions either, but that is always my goal. And it all depends on where I am and, if I plan ahead and things like this. If we plan, we can do it. That's all I know. If I travel somewhere, the first place I'm heading to is a supermarket or a market where I can buy groceries. So I buy my produce there and take it to the hotel room, and I have it. So I have it for the next few days, right?
Yeah.
So if you plan ahead, this can happen. And I don't limit my fruits to just sweet fruits. I also include tomato, cucumber, and avocado as a part of the 7. I also do berries, citrus, your apples, and melons. So, it's easy to find 7 fruits if you look. And the problem, people say, oh, it's too much money. My health is very expensive, so I don't mind paying
Yes.
for it. And if you consider that you're spending $100 a week on fruits, which is really, I think $50 to 75 is really all I spend personally. And I think when we eat fruits in that quantity, we don't need to necessarily have a huge amount each sitting. And I'm talking about eating it throughout the day.
Hmm.
So my first tip again, though, is 7 fruits a day, in the colors of the rainbow, because it helps to get your body to synthesize protein. I look at it as each of those colors represent different amino acids.
Mm.
And we call it amino acids scientifically, but whatever it is, the sign is in the color. The color of the fruit itself means that it has different constituents, different nutrients. And I believe that mixing them together in one day, and our digestive system, as long as it's not rushing through us, because we need that all there together so the body can do its synthesizing and then utilizing and absorbing, so that we can eliminate the parasites that it's helping to kill as well, and to get you hydrated. It brings in a lot of hydration. So that's my main reason for 7 fruits a day in the colors of the rainbow throughout the day.
Yes, I love
Yes.
that. Yeah, totally on the same page. And that goes along with, with my 5-star salad concept, for what I promote for people that make salads, to use at least 5 colors in every salad. Because yes, the different colors, we have color vision for a reason. We're designed to pick out these beautiful colors, and in addition to the proteins, also the polyphenols, those are extremely important for, their prebiotics for our gut bacteria, and their antioxidant properties. So yeah, antiparasitic. So that's, yeah, like you said, that's it's a great way to go about improving your gut health. Definitely is getting more color into your life, into your diet. And that leads into one of mine as well. So I wasn't going to use this one first, but I'm going to use it now because it ties in nicely with yours. Um, as you guys know, well, maybe some of you don't know this, but in 5-star digestion, I have the Flora Power Protocol. So it's, when I first came up with it, I was like, does it sound too much like flower power? I don't know, it sounded kind of weird, but Flora Power. So it's 10 key things to know about creating a healthy gut. The first part, the flora, is to boost your beneficial gut flora, and the power part is to empower those flora with the right environment so that they can do what they're supposed to do in the best way. So one of the uh, bullet points in there is to hydrate early. All right. And so that is part of the flora. So it's the R in flora. So hydrate early, I think, is very important, not only for, digestion purposes, because our digestive enzymes must have a properly hydrated state in order to function correctly. Enzymes have to have that hydration to function how they're supposed to help break down your food, and convert that into energy. And then also it helps to move the whatever you've got going on in your intestines through the intestinal tract. So it helps with gut motility and moving everything out, because the longer food sits in the gut, the more chance there is for, fermentation and putrefaction and, things, gas creation. So, you want it in there long enough for the digestive work to happen, but you don't want it too long that it's going to start causing some, gas and bloating and different byproducts that we don't want. So, yeah, hydrate early. And I personally, I like to drink distilled water myself. I know a lot of people believe that's dead water. So if you want, things in your water like minerals, you can add, some people like to add sea salt. Some people like to add, lemon or cucumber slices. I like to do that. Things like that. There's definitely ways you can re-energize distilled water, but personally, I think it's most important to get out all of the crap that's in, especially tap water, the pharmaceuticals, pesticides, industrial pollutants, all these different things. And then if you want to add something back in, that's a good way to do it. So I like to start my day with 32 ounces of water. And I do notice when I do that, I have much better bowel movements, especially early. I always have a bowel movement when I wake up. That's first thing I do basically. Just for everybody that wants to know my bathroom habits. But yeah, bowel movement first thing in the morning, and when I drink the water, it helps. It's an even better bowel movement. So the water I think is key, and then like Pele said, the fruits, get the fruits in early because they are hydrating, they're electrifying, they've got those electrolytes, they've got the antioxidants, all those colors. And that's really going to feed the gut microbiome, as well as just flush out everything that you started to detoxify over the night. So that would be my first one, is rehydrate early. And it's rehydrate because you lose a lot of hydration over the night. All right. So when you're breathing throughout the night, you're releasing moisture, and, sweating or, just natural perspiration, you're losing water. So it's important to rehydrate early in the day so that your digestion is set up for the best case throughout the day. And also you're flushing out all the old kind of gunk that's kind of been building up in there over the night. So that's my first one.
I love it.
Cool. Cool.
The distilled water part, by the way, I want to say that for those who are always concerned about quality of water, I know people are trying to get this alkaline water, and
Yeah.
the products that create the water and mechanically alkaline it,
Yep.
alkalize. That is not a healthy way to have alkaline water. The only way that I think personally that I like to alkalize water is with the lemon, for example, because literally lemon, is as alkaline forming inside the body.
Yep.
So, and you can test this yourself by having some lemon water or lemonade or something. And then when you urinate, catch that urine and put a pH strip in there and see if it's not a more alkaline pH.
Right.
That's what you'll at that moment, you'll see that. Because, and if you tested your urine prior, let's say you don't do that for a day and test it again, or the next morning or something, or maybe 2 days later, see what your pH is, or, think about it ahead of time, have a before pH and then do the lemonade test and then have the lemonade pH, and you'll see the difference there. The distilled water, though, I find the way I get it into the body is by putting it with my 7-fruit smoothie. That's the base of all my smoothies.
Yeah.
And that's the way I start my morning. I will put 7 fruits together: apple, kiwi, strawberry, or blueberry or blackberry, blueberry family, about a cup of that. And then I would put in there an inch or 2 of cucumber with the skin, organic, of course, as well as a slice, a quarter of a Hass avocado. And the avocado itself makes it creamy. So I don't use banana ever in any of my smoothies. I actually encourage people to eat the banana and leave the banana out of the smoothie.
Yeah.
That is something that I know Dr. Morse is loving. He loves his banana and blueberry smoothie. And so we're doing, you know, but
what is the what is the reason for that?
sure. For, the main thing about the banana is they're not even closely half as nutritious, in my opinion. I have
Hmm.
never done a test on this food, but compared to so many other fruits, I like to taste other tastes and flavors. When you put a banana in your smoothie, that's it. You don't taste much of anything else.
Yeah.
Nothing else, number one. And if you're going to put a banana, you don't need the whole thing. You just need it like this much, and it will still taste like banana. And it's still sweet. And it's so full of fructose, guys. It's
Mm.
really the most starchy fruit there is. And I find it to be one of the sweetest fruits, but the least hydrated fruit.
Yeah.
So it takes up a lot of the space of the smoothie. And I like to put 7 different fruits, and I never use banana. So I
Wow.
will eat a banana maybe once a year, guys. I'm not much. And I'm a Jamaican, so we do this boiled green banana thing. And that's
Oh.
kind of my way to have a banana with my callaloo and tomato slices and avocado. That's my favorite dish right there. But I make sure it's boiled down so it's soft, so there's no starch in it, and it doesn't impede on my bowel movement.
Mm.
There are times that you can have banana and it still has starch in it. And if it's slippery, there's a way to tell if your banana has starch in there just by when you bite into it. If there's that little taste in your mouth, that little feel of stickiness in your mouth,
Mm.
you can feel it that way, and you can feel it in your fingers. And that's why bananas should have the little brown spots on it before you consume it, because that is a sign that it's already starting to all of the starches already started to do its synthesis into
Yeah.
sugar. So um the smoothie, though, I will blend it up like 7 fruits in the distilled water, and that's how I get my distilled. I'll drink maybe 20 ounces of that,
Okay.
but that alone, you know, prepares me the next morning's bowel movement. Like
Yeah.
that is what. And we talk about bowel movements real quick. I must impede on this because that is my favorite topic of all, guys. I'm considering myself the queen of shit. All right.
I love it.
Let me tell you why. Because I look at not just mine, but yours, and I can analyze it, and I don't feel awkward by it. And I can tell
Yeah.
you what you've been eating and how backed up you are and how old your fecal matter is, and whether you're dehydrated or whether you're hydrated or whether you're healthy or whether you're going to have a heart attack soon. I can tell you whether you're filled with parasites. I can tell you so much about your health based on what your bowel movement looks like, the color, the shape, the floatingness, the texture, all of the above have a big impact. And no, people don't pay attention to this. But now for 20 years, I have people giving me pictures. I don't need to go and look at it with my hands. I don't play in it. Okay. I simply have a picture sent to me, and I can take, and it has to be a few pictures. You can't just give
Hmm.
me one and expect me to know your whole life story.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and the thing is, we have a rhythm. And some people say, yeah, I go every day. And I said, okay, great. Send me 7 pictures. And they can only send 2. Oh, I didn't have another one. I don't know what happened. And I usually go every day. No, you don't go every day. You're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I do with my clients, by the way. I just wanted to know, like, that's so important to look at your poop, look at your bowel movement. And then what are you looking at? Can you even understand what you're looking at? Do you know what you should look for? It should be an arm's length, one whole arm, your arm. If it's not an arm's length, that first movement, then you're probably going to have a second and third movement. And if you don't, that means you're going to back up. That's how you
Mm.
slowly back up over time, by not having complete bowel movements. And you can tell when you've had a full release. And I teach
Yeah.
all about that. And I won't go into it right now unless you want me to, Matt.
I would love for you to, honestly,
Okay.
because I'm the same way. I don't actually make my clients show me their poop, but I'm gonna start incorporating that because it is so important. I tell them about it. Like elimination is like talking about poop is also one of my favorite things as well. So, you know, that's such a great point and a great, thing to incorporate into your coaching is, because the poop, that's going to tell you so much. And people
That is
can't.
like X-ray.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love for you to expand on that a little bit.
Okay, so to me, it is like an X-ray. You can see exactly what is happening in the body if you just understood and paid attention for a series of days. And so the main thing I found over these years of actually not having my own bowel movements for many, many years, maybe 30 years of having incomplete, hard, small, pebbly every 4 to 5 days, and then suddenly having a severe stomach ache and having diarrhea and a whole load of crap come out. And then the whole house was smelling. I mean, God knows if I smell this bad, how about all these other people? I mean, really, we have to clean this stuff out. We don't have to smell like a sewer. We never have to smell our movement. It can be odor free. And that is my goal personally, to remain odor free, arm's length on rising before consuming anything. That's what should wake you up in the morning. If that is not waking you up in the morning, then you are not, getting enough fruit in your diet. That is what I say. And the fruit is where the hydration comes from, guys. I really believe that. But before I go into that part, I want to say this arm's length movement, if you are on a regimen where you are including fruit in your diet, then you should be able to release your whole colon, your whole large intestine, which is this letter N, right? It goes up on your right side and across. It goes up on the right side. Let's see, up on the right, cross your transverse, and then down, descending colon. And then that should all come out at once, like maybe 3 times. If you sat there long enough after you had a first release and you just kind of gave it a little time, you should have a second stimulation if all of it didn't come out. But sometimes we just get up and go. Now, if you wait a little bit or stimulate it by doing some movements with the belly, which we call Uddiyana. This is something I teach in yoga, and this is something I'm sure, Matt, you did my yoga class?
I did,
Or
yeah.
not?
It was terrific.
So we did the Uddiyana, and that is the one that I found to be amazingly helpful. Even if it doesn't look like my Uddiyana, if you do it, you are affecting your own gut health, regardless of what it looks like. So people always say, oh, I can't do that. It doesn't look the same. I'm like, who cares about what it looks like? Just do it. Okay. So the action, it's like do exercise, but it doesn't look the same. It doesn't feel good. It hurts. Yeah, but just do it anyway. That's how you benefit. Over time, it gets better, and it helps to clear your blockage. It helps to stimulate also a second or third movement. So your first release is only partial. More than normal, we are getting up and before we have a complete move. Your first movement might be formed and hard. It might have an odor. If you allow yourself to release more and let the stomach relax out, don't pull the belly in and push when you're on the toilet. That's the other thing, is not to push, but to let the stomach be in a relaxed state and allow the contraction to happen within the colon. But some of you can't do it because the food that you've been putting in there stops and prevents the contractions. Now, fruits are astringent and they create the peristalsis that causes the contractions. And that's why you should consume more fruit. And I find that the movement that happens when you have a complete movement, you'll feel the contraction on your right side of your stomach. If you have a contraction on the left side of your stomach before bowel movement, then you're probably only going to release your descending colon. That's a partial. You want to feel it on the right side. That is where the pushing comes from. So that is something that I felt in my own personal body. And as I do have my clients talk about this and get very personal with them, they show me their movements. And we see in the beginning how hard it is and how incomplete and small it is. And then they go a second time in the day and maybe a third time. And I have clients that are actually getting on the fruit fast. They're going for like 5, 6, 7 times a day because they are so backed up. And all the stuff that's coming out is still old. Maybe some fruit has helped to move that and has come out with it. Maybe there's also some undigested pieces, which these undigested pieces are only happening because you're not chewing enough. Because fruits and fiber foods need you to break it down in your mouth. Your stomach won't do it because fiber is so powerful. True fiber, your teeth has to do the work. This is the first line of digestion. So now if you're eating enough fruit and you get that full release of that full colon, you're going to see at the end of your movement a very soft, mushy food that you ate yesterday. It won't be formed because it's not dehydrated, because it's not hard. It hasn't been sitting there clumping up, banging up. It was released in time. But if you never get to that point of this soft, mushy food, movement at the end of your hard movement, then you're never really complete. And there is a difference between soft, mushy versus diarrhea, versus watery, versus sludgy, versus ice cream looking. There are many different textures, yes. Bristol stool charts, though, has nothing on me, guys. I have the real picture. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. So that's the main thing, is that it should be so plentiful that it literally is filling the water in your toilet, overflow, depends, every toilet is different. It could come above the toilet water thing. That's the kind of quantity we should be looking for. Even though you say, I don't eat that much. People say it's so much. I don't eat that much. I only eat one meal a day. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because you are already backed up. That's the reason you're only eating one meal a day, because you're already backed up. So in order to catch up, you have to flood your system with fruit. That is the true way to hydrate. Now, if you're peeing all the time, that is not hydrating. If you're drinking and then you're just peeing, or you're bloating, that is not hydrating. That is not a way to heal the body. That is masking some symptoms. You are masking areas. That's not fixing yourself, actually, because you want to, we need this water, as Dr. Moore says, interstitially. We need to absorb the cells interstitially. And we get that absorption through the colon, not through the kidney tract, not through that area where when you drink water, you pee. We get it when we eat water, and it goes into the colon, and then there is where you have this absorption. And that's where we're able to absorb water, in the colon. The large colon is where we absorb water, but most of us are backed up there. So we're not absorbing any water. If you're not eating enough fruit and you're already backed up, you're not there yet. You have to eat more. And I hear people say, oh, you don't need to eat that much fruit if you're a fruitarian and so forth, if you're already there. But if you're not there yet, on the way there, you're going to have to start eating more. It has to be a part of your morning, noon, and night. That's why I say 7 fruits a day, because I want you to have it 7 portions morning, like every 1 to 2 hours, and not at night. I want you to eat it and stop at sundown. Start at sunrise, stop at sundown. That is what I found to help my clients. That is what I do. And I realize when I am off track and I've traveled or I go somewhere else and I can't do what I usually do, oh boy, I feel it right away. But luckily I'm skinny, so no one can tell I'm bloated.
I love that. And everybody else is loving it too. Everybody's talking, you look radiant, yeah. So you look strong. So yeah, you know what you're talking about. And I'm so glad that we have you here to share all this great information. I couldn't agree more with everything you said. It's so important, the fruits and, that hydration. And I do the same thing. I get more hydration in my smoothie because I put the distilled water in there as well. But yeah.
And by the way, I forgot to mention the fact that people say that the distilled water has no nutrition and so forth, and all the minerals have been taken out. My biggest reason for taking it in myself was that 20 years ago, I had severe arthritis in my hands. Like right now, I can straighten my fingers. Like I can straighten them, guys. I couldn't back then. They were like kind of like this. All right, my fingers. My grandmother already had rheumatoid arthritis when she died. Her hands were like this. So I kind of had the genetics, the DNA was I was just doing what she was doing. I was just eating the way she was eating. This is a family thing, guys. We do what our parents teach us. Yeah. So until you start to look at things differently and then you make your changes, otherwise you continue doing what they teach you, then you got to be careful what you choose to decide to live by. You still, once you're an adult, you can make decisions and make different things happen for yourself. So I started drinking distilled water because I heard that it would help me to get out excess mineral out of my body. The places that I didn't need it, because I've been drinking it for 20 years and I have no issues with bones and joint health, and I haven't broken a bone, knock on wood. I haven't broken all these years. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. But the water, in even a small amount every day, has been helpful. That's what I drink as well throughout my day. But I don't drink more than probably 20 to 30 ounces for the whole entire day because I'm
Hmm.
eating my water. All right. Though, when that smoothie is being made and that empty water is used, you are putting minerals in it when you put 7 fruits in there. So that's what
Right.
I do. 7 fruits mixed together are all these minerals that, people say I need to add my salt or my lemon or my cucumber, but that 7 fruits, can you imagine how much minerals is in that smoothie?
Right.
That is how I look at that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. I looked at it the same way. And even outside of that, I eat an enormous amount of plant food, and so it's there's so many minerals in the rest of my diet. It's just there's no, for me, there's no concern about becoming deficient in minerals because it's not in my water. So yeah.
Yes, yes. And I want to say that the next thing on my list for the
Yeah.
gut health. So we're always told, to include greens in our diets. Green, green, green. So people are loading up on spinach and loading up on kale and mustard greens and collard greens, and even my favorite, callaloo.
Mm.
And I know from experience that too much of those greens can be harmful to my kidneys.
Mm.
I can see how I had kidney stones in my past, and I now understand why I had them. And this is one of the things that I limit my dark greens. I only have callaloo as a dark green. I don't eat any of those other greens personally. And I only have it once every week or 2 or 3 weeks. It's not something I eat every single day. And the other green that I consider the most healthy one, though, that is not necessarily a leafy vegetable, is asparagus.
Mm.
And asparagus changed my life. I started eating asparagus about 15 years ago. And I was already having my arm's length odor free bowel movements. I was already, feeling amazing. But there was something about building muscle or strength back then that I was yearning for, and I was seeking things to help me do that and to also help build white blood cells. I just always thought like cancer was in my future. Like I just, we have so many people in my family who've passed from this, and I just wanted natural ways to be able to prevent that from happening to me. So I was doing some research, and I looked into or found out about asparagus and how it has so much glutathione in it.
Mm.
And the fiber that asparagus is made from, when we eat it raw, it's amazing. And even when we blanch it, but it's about how much we have and how often we have it. And if you are going through some kind of severe backing up or, bowel constipation or something, and you want to do something natural, I recommend that you blanch 10 stalks of asparagus and squeeze some lemon juice on there and enjoy that, and have it with some tomatoes and have it with some sliced cucumbers and sliced avocados, and make that a meal. And that will clear your bowels in the blink of an eye, 24 hours. Not like diarrhea, but gives your body some time, but it helps pushing. There is something about the asparagus that is very, very healing to the gut, and it helps to move your fecal matter, and it helps to push out parasites too. I really believe that it does something also to help us to cleanse like any excess mucus or mucoid plaque in the bowel wall.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. Um, what are your thoughts on like lettuce, like green leaf lettuce, romaine
Yes, yes,
lettuce?
yes. Well, romaine lettuce, love it, love it, love it. I will definitely do that. I love iceberg lettuce. I love red leaf lettuce, and even green leaf lettuce is okay. I just simply don't tend to do those other greens. Those other
Gotcha.
greens, oxalic acid buildup in those other ones I mentioned are for
Yeah.
some reason my pet peeves. I just don't do them, and I find like even bok choy and Swiss chard
Hmm.
are also great. And so, yeah, but the romaine, I tend to do that more often, as well as iceberg still. And we think, oh, iceberg is nothing. It's not, it's hydrated. Eat it.
Yeah.
You know?
Agree. Agree. Cool. Yeah, that's great points. Great points. And let's see. Let's see here. my next one was to so yeah, low fat diet is my next point, is to keep the fat content low. Um, Low meaning, relatively low compared to, most Americans are eating somewhere around like 35% of their calories are coming from fats. A lot of that is animal fats. And even if you're eating plant fats, if you're up in that range, it still is detrimental to the gut microbiome and peristalsis, and the transit time, the rate at which the food moves through your intestinal tract. So my next point would just be to pay attention to the amount of fat that you're consuming in your diet, because people that I work with, I notice they misjudge the amount that they're consuming. A lot of people are eating much more fat than they think. And so, especially when you get into like nut butters and things like this, you're eating, the nuts and seeds are concentrated down. So like if I were to make tahini, it would take like 3 cups to blend down into 1 cup of tahini. And so if you're putting in like 4 tablespoons of tahini, that's like 12 tablespoons of seeds, right? So you gotta think about it, in that way, I think. And so keeping it low fat is particularly helpful in improving digestion, getting rid of a lot of the bloating people experience. Studies have shown that high fat diets lower the biodiversity in your gut as far as the good gut microbiome or the good gut bacteria. High fat diets reduce bacterial diversity, and it also negatively impacts the tight junctions in your gut wall. And so it allows endotoxins and other things we don't want getting into the blood to seep through much easier, undigested proteins and things like this that are going to cause inflammation. And so keeping the fat low, and especially the saturated fat, that's even coconut oil, and that's even palm oil. It's saturated fat is in pretty much everything, but in some of these more concentrated sources, and in overt sources, you're going to eat some lettuce, you're not getting a significant amount of saturated fat. Same with fruits, but unless you're eating coconut, so that would be the only one. But yeah, so saturated fat has been shown to be, especially harmful to the tight junctions in the gut lining. And so that's one thing that I try and tell people to pay attention to, especially if you're not eating a plant-based diet. If you're eating animal fats, those are the worst, not only because of the saturated fat, but also because of the bioaccumulation of different heavy metals and pesticides and, environmental chemicals, industrial chemicals that they accumulate in their body fat. And so, yeah, keeping it plant-based, of course, and then also making sure that you keep your fat somewhere between 10 and 20%, I think is what's most sustainable for most people. I tend to be right around between 10 and 15%. And so you don't have to measure these things, but if you're curious, you can use something like chronometer.com to get a general estimate of where you're at. But yeah, I think keeping the fat low is going to not only improve your digestion, but also give you better energy and help you sleep better, and that sort of stuff. So that would be my next one.
Oh boy, I have a lot to say about that one.
Oh, let's hear it.
You know, isolated nutrients. That's what oils are.
Right.
Okay. When we take out and say we have coconut oil is good for us, and we have avocado oil, and we have rapeseed oil, and we have olive oil, and we have all these black seed oil, and then we have hemp seed oil. Oh, they're all supposed to be so good.
Right.
How did I survive so many years without it? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
We do not require any isolated oils. This is just about product and your taste buds. They're just selling you a product, and they're trying to find a way for you to take it. And often I find that these isolated oils are are the worst things for our system. Everything Matt said is correct. I believe that everything he's mentioned about how it makes us sluggish, how it backs up and clogs our system is 100% correct. It even it creates the breeding ground for parasites. It creates the breeding ground for cancer. It creates the breeding ground for diabetes. Why diabetes? Because the pancreas doesn't just digest sugar. It also digests protein and fats. So every time you eat fat, that overworked pancreas is back to working again, as well as your gallbladder and your liver and your small intestine. So you're working all these systems. Oil is very dangerous, and we should avoid it as at all cost in isolated forms. So my choice to have oil comes in the form of an avocado, and I eat half of a Haas to a whole one every day. As maybe past 14, 15 years, it's been a part of my daily diet. And if I don't get it, I'm like, oh my God, I need my avocado. Like, that's an addict right there. So I have a tree in the back, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to get that one. It's like all the way up there. I can't get it. And I need someone to come over here. Does anybody have any techniques to come by? Anyway, but I find people going to seeds and nuts in the vegan world.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of clients coming to me as vegetarians and vegans with gut issues. And one thing they all have in common when they have gut issues is that they are consuming too much or any seeds and nuts. And I'm talking about people who eat handfuls of nuts at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be any nut, guys. It doesn't, like, we are told, oh, Brazil nut is healthy, or walnut is healthy, or macadamia nut is healthy. And we're told all these different types. If you're gonna have a nut, you have one and you chew it until you have no bits in your mouth, because your stomach is not breaking it down enough. You have to blend that up to mush before you swallow. That is the first line of digestion. I will say it again. And when we don't break up our nuts, they cause fibromyalgia, diverticulitis, diverticulosis, parasitic growth, mucus in your bowels, and it causes constipation. It causes severe pain in your gut. I've had many clients with these conditions, and that's one thing I see happening with heavy nut consumers. So limit or omit. And if you cannot find raw nuts, I would never do anything roasted, cooked, processed. No sugar added, no salt added, no caramel, no honey, none of that stuff. That's just recreational junk food, guys. Okay, if you want a nut, go climb an almond tree, you grab an almond, and then you break it open after you eat the meat, and then you take the nut, and that's it. That's one nut, that's it. We have too much seeds in the diet. Additionally, the same thing happens with our flax seeds, our quinoa seeds, our chia seeds. Our bodies are not meant to digest these. That's bird food. Birds can digest it. Not even birds can digest it. Have you seen the birds poop? The seeds are still whole when they poop. Not even the birds can digest it. So because seeds were meant for planting, not really for us to consume, but we're being led into this lifestyle and this diet to be a safe eater because we don't want to eat the animals. But I really feel that it can cause us problems. And I've seen it. I know it. I don't even feel it. I know it. I see it. I know it. I believe it. And to limit is important. I used to do the walnut butter. I used to do, the sesame tahini.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I will never do it. It's just that I'm not having it daily. And I may do it once every month or once every few months. It's not something that's in my life as a ritual. It's not my staple food. And I find that is where we get in danger. That's where the gut starts to have issues. And sometimes you might hear grumbling in your stomach and you don't know, but that's from the nuts. That's your stomach like trying to release enzymes, digestive enzymes to break down these nuts. And it's not, and they're just like creating more and more acid by doing this. Okay, so that's how we get acidic. And so we look good, but our gut, something's going on in there. So I really consider like the nuts something that you should limit. Try not to eat it too often and not in big portions, guys. We aren't meant to eat a lot of nuts and seeds. You know what? A strawberry has just enough seeds on it. That's all you should eat. because you can't pick off those little seeds.
Right.
Okay. And like even the watermelon, if you can chew up a few, but don't eat the watermelon seeds all the time.
Mm.
Like I don't think that's what it's meant to be. You just spit it out, put it in a plant, let it grow.
Yeah, great points. Great points. I agree. I mean, it's so that's one of the reasons why. So I'm writing a new book right now, and one of the main concepts is to eat wet food, right? So nuts and seeds are very dry. If you're gonna eat them, I recommend, blending them into a salad dressing or, something like that where it's gonna get, fully pulverized or masticated. So it's not just that dry, fragmented, seed or nut. And I agree. So many people eat way too many, and yeah, it's not like in nature we would have just a unlimited amount of these nuts and seeds that people are consuming. So yeah, so true, so true. And when you if you do consume nuts or seeds, do you recommend soaking and sprouting them, or do you have any thoughts on that?
I never make anything with nuts or seeds ever.
Okay.
So I don't even know how to, guys. I'm not even going to go there. It hasn't been a part of my life to be the maker.
Nice.
I was always gifted this food. So, it's not something I seek. Yeah. I definitely understand the reason for sprouting. I can see why people do that. I can see that to be a healthier version, for sure. But I'm not sure otherwise. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. Yeah. Great. Great information. Great insights. Let's see. Are we on your third one or my third one? I don't even remember now.
I guess I need to go on my third one now, huh?
Yeah, that works. That works.
All right. So let's see now. Gut health. Well, I believe in, the time of day in which we eat is essential. So I personally I grew up eating till midnight. Fried chicken leg.
Me too.
Bread and bun and cheese or bread and butter at 10 o'clock at night before bed, have some milk or some soda. I'd be knocked out, mind you. That would definitely put me out. I'd be cold turkey. Wake up early in the morning though, and not have a bowel movement. That's what would happen.
Yeah.
Every time we eat past sundown, we jeopardize the next morning's movement. Now, when I found out that I can eat fruit after dark and still have an arm's length movement, then I was hooked, because I do sometimes want to eat after dark. I have, different reasons to sit there doing my work, and then I wanted to munch on something. Now, mind you guys, I'm only 125 pounds right now, and I'm trying to gain weight. But that's not going to happen with my food. I have to pump weights to do that, and I don't want to pump weights. So I'm just going to be satisfied with the way I look. Okay, that's how it's going to be.
You look great.
But literally at night when I eat, I don't think about how much weight I'm going to put on, how it's going to make me fat. That's not what I think about. I think about, am I going to poop the next morning? That is what matters to me. And that guarantees that I don't put on any weight. So an arm's length a day keeps you from gaining weight. All right. And that's what I found out. And so 21 years of doing this lifestyle, I have not put on a pound of, between 2-3 pounds a day. Or if I go somewhere and I gain 10 pounds and come back and it's gone, and I actually go somewhere to gain 10 pounds. But then I come back and it's gone. Yeah. So, fruit is the best way to heal that weight issue that you might be, having. And some people don't want to get as skinny as me. Like I hear my clients say, they say, "Oh, I don't want to be as skinny as you, Pele." And you won't, trust me.
Yeah, the conditioning.
Yes.
Yeah, the conditioning is, yeah.
Exactly. So, but eating during the day, during the sunlight hours, is the safest way to keep a healthy gut, to move freely in the morning, to move without strain, to move without you having to push or without caffeine or even drinking water, your belly should just go cramp up. And you like, oh, I know what that means. And you get up and you go sit on the toilet before you have a shower, before you go turn off the light or whatever you have to do, you go straight to the bathroom. And I can't emphasize it enough that we do so many things before we go to the bathroom. And that's not how it should be. Like, I find the should be thing. I know someone told me a long time ago, there is no shoulds and should nots. It's just what it is. But it could be this way for you. And it would be very helpful in your health and your weight and your bowel movements and the way you feel. And the whole day matters on how you move your bowels that morning.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stop eating at 7 o'clock every night, you give your body 12 hours. Let's say you have a 7 a.m. movement. I recommend that you try to wake up between 5 and 7 every day for a bowel movement. If you're a late bird and you wake up later, I recommend you put that alarm on between 5 and 7 a.m. and you sit on the toilet and you create a habit that your body is up when it's supposed to be cramping, because that is the time that it cramps, between 5 and 7. According to Chinese meridians, I was studying back in 23 years ago. It really gave me a real connection to when the organs regenerate or when they're working at their peak. And so the colon works at its peak between 5 and 7 a.m. So wherever you are in the world, that is your time zone. Okay. So if you happen to poop later, it may be incomplete, and you may be in a habit to pooping later too, but it may still be incomplete. But if you had it between 5 and 7 a.m., there is more strength at that time. But sometimes we sleep through it, so we don't know it's happening. Somebody says, oh, I've never pooped at that time. I said, I know, it's okay. You can still do it. And then they did it the next day. Oh my God.
Yes.
So if you do, though, allow your digestive system to have no food in it for 10 to 12 hours. When you rise the next morning, your bowels will be ready and strong and waiting to be released. And that is the key, is to set them up. We often think we need to take some Pepto-Bismol. We need to take something that the doctor prescribed, or have some caffeine to stimulate us, or take a stimulating tea even. None of that stuff is what you should need to stimulate your bowels. Your bowels should do it on its own, but you have to prepare it the day before. And you have to have an empty span of 10 to 12 hours before your colon is really prepared. When we start eating later in the night, make it a fruit, please. If you have anything else, you're going to jeopardize the strength of your morning movement, and even jeopardize your sleep, and jeopardize the way you wake up in the morning, because the food that we eat that night is going to affect you while you sleep, because you're digesting while you're resting. And then your adrenal glands don't get to rest as they should, because between 10 p.m. and midnight, your adrenal glands should be at rest. You should be sleeping by then. If you're not sleeping between 10 and midnight, then your adrenals will never get regenerated in an efficient way. I find that people's adrenal glands are very weak, and you can tell by the blood pressure when you take the blood pressure reading on both arms. And I found that it's to be true that if they are not, early sleepers, that they're always tired, they're always feeling the need for caffeine, they're constipated, they can't get up in the morning without something stimulating them. And it wreaks havoc on the whole day. So you have to prepare, you have to think ahead. That's the only thing I realized for myself. If I'm not prepared, like, I have so many different jobs. I have 5 jobs, guys. 5. I'm a Jamaican. Okay. How many times have I said I'm a Jamaican today?
One more time.
Okay, is that my third? That's my third.
Yeah. No, oh my gosh. I couldn't agree more. The window of eating is one of the points I make in 5-star digestion as well as optimizing your sleep. So yeah, those are the crucial points to make about gut health and energy levels and elimination. Like you said, you want to give your digestive tract a rest every single day, 10 to 12 hours. I go 14 hours or so between, I have that fasted state every day. And not even intentionally. It's just how I naturally, it's just how it has evolved. And that's what I've kind of gotten into. And it just feels the best. Um, so yeah, giving your digestive system that rest. As the microbiome research has shown, there's bacteria that thrive in a fasted state, and in the digestive process, those gut bacteria that are breaking down your food as it's traveling through the gut, there are primary digesters, there's secondary digesters, and then there's tertiary digesters, and so on. And so if each one, supposedly from what I've read, is if you continue or consuming food, it's the primary digesters that are kind of always at work, and those down the line bacteria that kind of, because the primary digester breaks its stuff down and then it excretes byproducts or waste, and then the secondary digesters break down what that first bacteria excreted, and so on down the line. And so they each kind of have their own role. And if you're constantly just taking in food without giving your digestive system a rest, those down the line bacteria don't get the sustenance that they need from those earlier digesters, and so they don't have a chance to proliferate throughout the gut. And a lot of these are very beneficial and health promoting bacteria. So again, constantly eating is going to diminish the diversity of good gut bacteria that we have to help keep our gut lining healthy, and keep our bowels moving, and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, so many great points and reasons to give your body a rest, and especially if you're, for me, when I'm like right now I'm writing a book. When I'm not eating, I write the best. Like if I try to write after a meal, it's a struggle, right? So, not as much as a struggle as if I were to eat some like heavy, cooked or super super heavy thing. But if even if I eat just a fruit smoothie, it's not that bad, but it's still, there's a difference. So if I'm in a fasted state, my mind just works so much better, and I write, the flow is just so much easier. So yeah, I love those points. And let's see, my last one is to rewild. All right, so to rewild, get out of the sanitation mindset that everybody seems to be in, covering themselves in antibacterials, and, keeping everything in their house bleached, and, um, scenting themselves with synthetic chemicals, and gargling antiseptic mouthwash, and drinking fluoridated and chlorinated waters. These things are not natural. We're meant to be in nature, in the dirtiness, right? You don't have to be dirty per se, but don't be so sanitized that you are giving your gut these antibacterials. We are made up of so much bacteria, right? There's so much bacteria that is responsible for maintaining the gut. And if we are constantly taking in antibiotics and pesticides and fertilizers and pharmaceuticals and all these different things that are in our environment, and a lot of people don't realize these chemicals are pretty much in everything that we have. Laundry detergents, clothing, you know colognes, perfumes, deodorants, shampoos, all these things. And so you have to be aware that these chemicals are detrimental to our gut health. And getting into more of a rewilded mindset where it's when was the last time you got grass stains on your knees, or you had dirt under your fingernails from being outside. A lot of people, I think, haven't done that for who knows how long, or they're just wiping their food, all of their produce down with these veggie washes that have who knows what's in them, or just some sort of sanitation method where they're just they're removing the natural component, the nature from that food. There's information on the surface of that food that you're consuming, and if you wipe all that away, it just doesn't have the same effect in your gut. And so rewilding would be my next one. Toxicology and chemicals, toxins are one of my kind of passions to look into. And so it's really sad to see how many people are just covered covered from head to toe, 24/7 with different chemicals, and taking these medications and things that are destroying their gut. There's plenty of evidence that shows how detrimental it is to the gut lining and to our digestive organs, and to everything that is involved with that. So that would be my next one, is to be aware of the pesticides, the herbicides, the fertilizers that you're being exposed to, synthetic perfumes and colognes, antiperspirants, air fresheners, what you use in your laundry, antibacterial soaps and things. That all plays a part in building up your good gut health and the digestion process and your elimination. If that's all not working right, you're not going to eliminate correctly. And that's really the name of the game. So, yeah.
100% agree. Oh my gosh, do I have some pet peeves? And one of them is smelling you. I don't want to smell you.
Yes.
I don't want to smell your cologne. I don't want to smell your perfume. I don't care what it was made from, or who it was made by, I should say, or what it was made from. Yeah. Either doesn't matter. I literally find that it's too overwhelming. Like if someone is 10 feet away and I'm smelling them already, oh, no,
yeah,
it's
awful.
It's too much. Spray your foot bottom in that case. Okay. And then I might be okay with it. Yeah. Number one, because those things are neurotoxins.
Yes.
When someone has an allergic reaction to a smell, that it causes their throat to close up, or eyes to water, or you're sneezing or coughing or you're gagging, that is not a good response. And if that smell is doing that to anyone, that's a sign that this product is probably not that good for anyone, even you. And even though you are not responding to it that way, it could be because you're already taking something that is suppressing your natural system. So you don't have that response happening for you. Many of us are taking medications for pain, inflammation, digestion, heart disease, all kinds of stuff for cancer, all kinds of stuff for diabetes. And it's affecting even the way that a chemical enters your body, and you can't even react to it. So I believe that oftentimes we are considered hypersensitive when we are sneezing because we smell someone's cologne. I'm not hypersensitive. Don't let me go there. Okay.
Yeah, I immediately get a headache if I walk by somebody at the grocery store with perfume. It's like an instant headache. I can feel my throat like closing. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I used to wear these items. Okay, I wore them. Since I was born, my mother was like plastering me with scents to do. And then I went on to teenage life and I plastered myself, and I was in my 20s, and all that time I had asthma, I had allergies, and I would just medicate.
Yep.
Just pop a pill, and then I could handle my perfume. I'd be fine. That is what's going on. People are on these drugs and they are not reacting to these neurotoxic chemicals that you are putting onto yourself every day.
Yeah.
Come on, think. So we're doing this to ourselves, and we're doing it to others. And we think we're attracting and, getting somebody, because we smell good. No, I would rather smell your BO. Actually, I really, really would, except there was one guy last night. I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to digress.
Love it.
But yes, the BO, it could be a strong odor, and that is a sign you need a detox.
Yes.
That's what I'm here for. That's what Matt's here for. Yeah.
Yes.
Because we can, and it's no harder than getting your diet in the right direction and for a long time. It's not 7 days. It's not 21 days. It's not 30 days. It's not 6 months. It's not even a year. It is for the rest of your life to really get this food in so that you can clean it out and then stop putting stuff on your body. So I stopped wearing perfumes, I stopped wearing even essential oils, guys.
Mm.
Now I know people think it's not the essential oils. They aren't all, made badly. Some are better quality. I don't agree with it because personally, as a massage therapist, I've worked on many, many people. In the past, when I did use essential oils, my clients and I would both have sneezing fits, regardless of the oil. And I have had
Mm.
many, many brands that I've tried. I've been given told so many times, try this, try this, try this. And so one day I got a massage and the lady put lavender on my face and I couldn't breathe through the whole massage. And it
Mm.
was so intoxicating and I felt like I was going to die. And I didn't want to get up because I needed the massage because I was like suffering.
I,
So,
I'm the same
we
way.
we don't think about the reaction others have and that we just know that we can handle the smell. And then you shouldn't be leaving your scent on someone else. If you go to hug someone and they smell like you after they're done, you are just totally wearing too much and you put it in the wrong place. Okay, put it behind your ear or behind your feet. Again, on the bottom of your feet is the best. Now I had a guy here recently to come and do some cleaning work in my room, and he left here and my whole house smelled like his cologne.
Uh,
Okay, like, what the heck is that?
yeah.
No, don't do this to me.
Yeah, it's so bad. And that's one of the things that I just man, it's like these chemicals, especially the people that are using the synthetic perfumes and colognes, but even some of the essential oils as well. That's why I agree. I don't I switched over to using essential oils after I learned about synthetic fragrances and things. But then, yeah, I started to learn that even the essential oils, these are concentrated, compounds from the plants, even that, they can have endocrine disrupting effects just as, just like the
Yeah,
synthetic ones. So, I
I
also,
really
yeah, yeah, and people are putting them right on their thyroid, right on their neck, right where the endocrine gland is, and these are endocrine disrupting chemicals, especially the synthetic ones that are estrogenic and carcinogenic and all these things. So, yeah, that's just one thing I used to do it all the time. I used to spray the cologne on my neck, and yeah, it's kind of scary to think about, and it really goes to show. I see a lot of like people that are living, vegan or health or plant-based diets, and maybe they get sick later in life, and they blame the diet, or they wonder how that could happen. But at the same, they only changed their food. They didn't look at the chemicals that they were exposing themselves to throughout their lifetime, and they continued to put on these colognes. They have air fresheners. They're using synthetic, estrogenic uh, laundry detergents and shampoos and things. So it's like we're in a toxic culture,
yeah.
that's really all over the world. Everybody is kind of exposed to these things now, and yeah, just getting more comfortable with our natural body smell. And like you said, like the body, it doesn't need to smell bad. Like I the deodorant that I use, which I maybe use like once a week or once every couple of weeks, and half the time I don't even need it, but it's jojoba oil, it's baking soda, and that I do put lemon essential oil. But lemon, I find it, from what I've seen, it's the, it's, I don't know
Least
that
reactive.
I don't know that there's too many
Yeah.
negatives to it. But
Least reactive. Sure.
yeah, yes. So
I
yeah,
also
that's what I use for if I ever need to use like a deodorant. That's what I would use.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And the first thing deodorant wise for me is the crystal deodorant. I'm
Mm.
not sure what you think of it, but that one is the one I've been using for 20 years, since
Wow.
21 years ago, literally. And uh, I just know, like, I don't necessarily know I need to use it, but I just want, I'm on top of people. So, and I'm
Yeah.
sweating all day and I just want to make sure, and I'm probably great without, but I never have, I never have
Yeah.
an odor.
Yes.
But before we go there, brain gut connection, guys.
Right.
There is a brain and a gut connection. So all these neurotoxins, this is why we bring it up, neurotoxins that are entering our body through the nose, through the eyes, through the ears, through the mouth. We have many ways to affect the brain. And so our brain health is so important. But if our gut health sucks, your brain health is going to be right there sucking just as bad.
Yeah.
And this is why Alzheimer's disease is around. This is why Parkinson's disease comes about. There are all kinds of mental health issues, bipolar, schizophrenia. We don't even consider that any of those things have anything to do with the gut.
Right.
Well, I beg to differ. And I believe wholeheartedly that we are always impacted with parasitic issues in the gut if we have those mental issues going on. So if you know someone who has any kind of mental issue, their diet is essential. And that's the last thing people look at. That's the last thing people try to change. They want to drug them.
Yep.
They want them to have therapy. How about food therapy?
Yeah. And in addition to that, most, if not all of these drugs have damaging effects to the gut, and so it just compounds the effects of their poor diet and, their poor lifestyle. And then they add in these pharmaceutical drugs that, cause leakage in the gut and, cause inflammation and all these things.
Or they cause this too alkaline.
Yeah.
They can cause too much alkalinity.
Yep.
I was on antibiotics my whole childhood.
Yep.
All right. Childhood to my teenage life. I didn't stop taking antibiotics till I was about 32. Guys,
Wow.
maybe 30. I'm 52, so this was 20. Yeah, 30, maybe 30 years old, maybe was the last time I took an antibiotic. I haven't had anything like that in 21 years. And the other thing is painkillers was a daily usage for me. Headache, stomach ache, my neck hurt all the time, my shoulder joint. When I had a sprain, it never healed. I was completely inflamed in areas that just were injured, and they hurt, but I just numbed them with pills.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, depression. Oh, let me just have some Xanax. I had Prozac. I had, all these different things. I mean, we medicate every single thing without thinking that there's a side effect to the medication.
Right.
And on top of it, we never treat the real issue. We never get to the real source of the problem. So those medications that you are on right now are never going to fix a thing. They're just helping you along through your suffering, because nobody wants to suffer. But we have to take grand leaps and change things in order to feel better. It does not mean that you can, wake up and just be a fruitarian. It takes time to develop, our habits, to change our habits. Take something out daily. Take out some kind of thing that you eat every day. Take out the eggs. Take out the bagel. Take out the cheese. Take out the caffeine. No teas with caffeine either. All of those yogi teas, by the way, are full of neurotransmitters. Anything with says flavor, anything that's flavored, guys, drop it.
Yeah.
Flavors are BS. None of them are healthy. If you're not flavoring with a whole fruit right there and eating it right there in your hand, then you're not flavor what? Okay, so natural flavors is hidden by all kinds of names. Aspartame is hidden in all of these products. That is the neurotransmitters. That is the brain killer. Okay, it affects your whole nervous system and causes you to end up doing this. You want to be shaky? I used to be shaky. I remember when I first started giving massages, I was shaky. I remember. No more. And I'm getting older and better, not older and worse. So that's why I try to help people reverse their aging process by just let you can fix yourself. You don't need to take a pill all the time. And you don't need to take it anytime.
Yeah.
Because when you get sick, you'll get over it. Your body will fix itself.
Yep.
Get out the way.
Yes. Love it. And yeah, like you said, and most people I've realized still, I mean, there's still people that think that fluoride is like some beneficial thing in their water, and fluoride is actually a neurotoxin as well. And so when you're consuming water that is full of a neurotoxin, how can you expect to have good gut function, good digestion, good brain function? Because it's just one of those things that sometimes I do get pushback on, because people think that fluoride is so good, but yeah,
The
what do
ones
you,
who use it, they're the ones that think it's good.
yes,
Remember that.
yes, I know,
This is the brainwashing. Because
yes,
guess what? Did you know that Hitler put fluoride in the water
I have heard
back
that, yeah,
then? Yes, to get his people to be followers. It was a
right,
brainwashing tactic. It was a way to get them like zombies almost. I mean,
yeah,
there is something about that all of us were taking fluoride toothpaste. We're doing the listen, I just use plain water. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Water. And if you want to have a good breath, you must clean your gut out with good food and have
right,
more fruit. After a meal, also, if you want a tip, oranges after a meal,
mm,
grape, grapefruit before bed, guys. Amazing colon cleanser. If you must eat late, 2 hours before bed, let's say, I don't care what time it is, have a grapefruit. Have a grapefruit.
mm,
There's something about that will absolutely create a healthy movement in the morning, help rid the body of excess mucus and parasites and candida. Okay. And you will see some people will go through having more fruits in their diet, and all of a sudden they have a flare up of yeast infection or a flare up of more candida or symptoms of this stuff happening, more mucus. That's because your body's detoxing. It's getting out what has been sitting in you, festering, and has been stored in your cells. And fruits help to push all that stuff out. So you're going to see it for a few days, maybe weeks, depends on how much you have in you. But eventually it will go away forever if you continue eating the right way and not giving it the breeding ground to create those chemicals again. And that's what this is all about. You're creating and you're destroying.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I was thinking also, people that have continual issues with, even if they start eating fruit, and they tell me, well, I still have these symptoms of candida and things. Then I look at how much fat are they eating again, because a lot of these people are eating again so much fat that it's impairing their, the glucose absorption into their cells, and it's causing insulin resistance essentially, which is leading to candida and other issues like that, and also just the sluggishness of everything moving through the gut, and just kind of that sliminess going through the gut. So yeah, that would be another thing that's that is something that I look at with people that are still having those issues, because the fat content again just seems to sneak back in with most people.
That's a good point too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, okay. I think we're about ready to head to the Q&A. This has been amazing. Everybody's loving this. We're getting some great comments here. Diana says you're both amazing, so thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Rob. Thank
Uh,
you.
yes. Before we head to the Q&A session, where can people where can people connect with you, Pele? And like, do you have any, anything coming up that you want people to know about?
Mhm. Always trying to create things, huh? I'm always trying to create things, but
Yeah.
I can't say right now that I have anything coming up in this vicinity within the next few months. I was thinking of Australia, but that's going to be in next year, February, March.
Okay.
Hopefully having some kind of health workshop there. But for the moment, it's still in preparation. So I don't have any more details as of yet. But I basically on Facebook, I have a group on Facebook called For the Love of Fruit. And there we talk about all this kind of stuff. And we also talk about yoga and massage and crystals. That's my other business. I'm a crystal provider. And then I also, offer this detox consultations and massages and yoga classes online as well as in private. My, I think on the website is heal.me, and the link I believe Matt has shared in the post.
Yep.
So Instagram. Otherwise, you can call or text me at 754-367-1625. and I'd be happy to respond to your messages, or you can send a message to Goddess of the Gut here on Instagram. Well, not here, but it could on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
On TikTok as well. I'm there also, I
Oh,
believe,
cool.
is Goddess of the Gut too, or I think, or Pele Chen, one or the other, I can't recall.
Okay.
And also, yeah.
I'll add
But
that to the list.
yes, and I also make healthy soap. So that's one thing I didn't mention. I wanted to talk about real quick.
Yeah.
I used to use Irish Spring and
Hmm.
Dove and
Me
all
too.
those fabulous, fabulous scents. And
Yeah.
I realized, though, it was definitely doing a thing on my whole respiratory system.
Mm.
And so I decided one day, I saw some twin girls, 9 years old, making soap, and they were like millionaires. And I was like, oh, if little girls can make soap, I can make soap. So I did a research, and I decided to make some soap, and I've been making it now going on 7 or 8 years. But that's the only soap I use on my skin. And I have noticed over the years that my blackheads that I had once and my whiteheads have all diminished. And like, I found when I was getting into this vegan raw lifestyle, the the moles on my body were getting bigger. They
Mm.
were getting bigger. My moles were growing. Like, I've seen people I massaged over the years, and I've seen their moles grow and
Mm.
start to hang. You see this change over time. If you don't change, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, guys. Okay. What happened, what I saw, is that they shrank. After at first they were bigger, because I suppose my teacher back then, my yoga teacher, she had also said that her belief of cancer was that our body releases cancer through the skin, and we may end up with warts,
Mm.
white warts. White warts in particular are signs of the body's malfunctioning of cells and are cancerous. And also, that's one of the things that the dermatologist, they check those white warts often. They look for these weird looking warts, and they say, "Oh, you have cancer." Now,
Mm.
listen, if you have skin cancer, you have cancer way deeper than that.
Mm.
That is the first thing I want people to realize, and that you can't just cut it off your skin and think you don't do anything else. You
Right.
have to make more changes. So I saw, though, over the years, after using my soap, I did not know if it was related or not, guys, but my moles have gotten almost gone. Like, I don't have any moles anymore. I'm like, really? I had one here, I had one here, I had one here, I had one here. And so now the soap that I make, I use it with either hemp seed glycerin, aloe vera glycerin, honey glycerin, and then I add apple cider vinegar. I add a tad bit of coconut oil and some essential oils, as well as the food dye. So the foods might be just a leaf, like a mint leaf, blended up to make it green, or some annatto seeds blended up and put it to make it red. You'll combine it to make it purple, et cetera, et cetera. Now, not even red, it was yellow for annatto. But the fact is that the soaps that were being sold commercially are loaded with toxic stuff. And I mean, loaded, guys. And we don't think about how much your skin absorbs in a hot shower.
Right.
A hot shower. When your skin is hot, your pores open, and it's ready, easily going in and out of you, easily. In my belief, I don't know, I have no facts, guys. I can't tell. I scientifically did not cut myself and check, but I really believe something about the pores being open to allow things to move into and out of the body.
Mhm.
So when I shower, I'll do a hot shower. I'll lather up, but I always end with a cool rinse to close the pores. So always at the end of a shower, I'm cool rinsing. Every shower, it doesn't matter how hot or how cold it is outside, I end with a cool rinse. And I found that to be the healthiest way to have a shine, a buff, a cleansing. And I use exfoliating gloves, which are soft gloves. They're not like a scrub. Everyone's doing this dry brushing technique and all these other, things where your skin is dry and you're like scraping it off. I'm not into all that. Sorry, guys, I'm not. For me, it is a wet exfoliating glove with my soap, which, like, you all can make your own soap too. You don't have to use mine. I sell them, but it's really easy. It really is. Maybe I should do a class on how to make your own soap.
Yeah.
And you use circular friction, right? Circular friction helps to remove the dead cells and keep your youthful skin. It helps to keep you from wrinkling. It keeps your skin tight. I need to do more on the neck though. But anyway, that's my story. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, no, that's great information, and yeah, definitely people check out those soaps, because I agree, those soaps that are in the stores are toxic, and I always used to do the cold rinse at the end to close up the pores as well, and I kind of forgot about it, so I need to get back into doing that. Thanks for the reminder.
Yes, yay.
Oh,
Happy to help.
yeah. All right, terrific. All right, well, we are ready to hop into the Q&A. So, guys, get your questions in the chat box, and you again will be in the drawing to win an ebook copy of 5-Star Digestion, as well as 3 people are going to be able to win a package of Pele's crystal bracelets, and they look incredible. So I hope you're excited. And there they are. Look at that. So yeah, let's jump over into the Q&A room. Here we go. All right, we're at the blackboard here. So yeah, what do you guys have for questions for us, whether on gut health or anything else that you've heard Pele talk about that you find interesting? Throw it in the chat here if you want to win these gifts. All right, so before they start rolling in here, I'll just start you off with a quick question. Could you share just like what is a day in the life of eating for Pele?
Well, absolutely. I start off usually with not with my 7-fruit smoothie, with a whole fruit. So if I'm not doing the 7-fruit smoothie and I have pomelo, which is what is right now available. So I'm doing a lot of pomelo. And they're pretty big grapefruits. So I'll tend to do like about a quarter to almost a half of it. And that'll fill me up for like an hour or two. And then I'll go to the grapes, and then I'll have some coconut water. I have freshly cut coconut water here every week. I always replenish that. That's something I think is a must.
Nice.
The coconut is definitely something we should get if we can get it, because the problem is we can't get it fresh everywhere, and you can only get it canned or bottles or packaged. And I don't drink packaged coconut water ever, no matter where I go. So if I am in Jamaica or some other country that it's where, let's say I go somewhere where it's not available, not Jamaica, but let's say I come to Minnesota,
Yeah.
there's no,
no coconut.
Not having any coconut water there. Sorry, no, you gotta have to, eat what's available, right? Drink what's available. What is primarily growing in your neighborhoods, and then whatever is imported, be scrutinous and look at ingredients and see if anything was sprayed on your produce or put into preserving your beverages. And oftentimes, if it's in a package and it says 100% juice, I don't believe it. Unless the expiration date is within 7 days. That's the only way I would believe it. And then I don't really ever drink anything packaged in a juice form. I only make my own. So I may have this one apple juice that I'll buy that is it says apple is the only ingredient, okay? And it says they just recently put pasteurized on it. It was not pasteurized before. It was fresh apple juice. It was like 2 weeks before it like expiration every time. I was like, this is good. And it was tasting great. And then they just changed it. And I noticed that anything that is natural, the government comes in there and they just
Yeah.
So
Can't get too healthy.
You have to do it yourself. That's what I say. And so for me, I only juice things that I can squeeze with my hands. And so I'm only doing orange juice, but I squeeze. And I'm not going to make 5 oranges to make the juice. I actually don't even make orange juice, guys. I eat the orange. That is my orange juice. But I will squeeze lemons. Okay. And I will squeeze occasionally if I have too many grapefruits and I haven't finished them. And I would squeeze that to make juice, grapefruit juice. But otherwise, it's just coconut water, distilled water, or lemonade. And with lemonade, I make maple syrup and the lemons squeezed in water, and that's it. So for me, that's all I do for hydration. I don't even drink teas unless I'm not feeling so well, which rarely happens. And then I'd reach for the heal all tea, Dr. Morse's heal
Mm,
all tea,
nice.
or and in the case of I don't have these issues, but if I had a kidney issue or a stomach issue, that is the thing I would trust Dr. Morse's his herbs. I
Yeah.
really believe that he's very conscious about what's going on in the world, and I believe his products are high quality. So that's what I would say for teas if you're going to do something like that.
Hmm.
Um, but did I finish answering your question? I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
That
you asked me how I would start the day, or no, a day in the
basic,
life. No,
like yeah, like a day in the life of
Vicky,
eating. Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't finish answering. I just told you this morning. Okay, so after the grapes, then so I have an apple maybe, or then I'll make a salad. But I also I love red pea soup.
mm,
So I make it myself, and I'll make it enough for like 3 or 4 days. And so I'll have a little bit every day for lunch or something like that.
mm-hmm.
And I'll put my yam and potato in there. This is my cheat because it's cooked and it's literally, it's probably, I would say, a safer junk food because like it's carbs, you know what I'm saying? And for
Yeah,
me, I need the carbs. I'm always in search of some carbs, and I'd
yeah,
rather that than bread. And I
yes.
have some bread, but I really eat it. I just have it once in a blue moon. I have the bread and I end up throwing it out. I'm sorry for wasting. But I do my best. But I may have black rice. That is something that I
Mm,
love, love, love. And I found it to be very gut friendly, guys.
mm,
I find black rice does not bind. It is loose. You'll find that it will. If you're chewing well, it'll move through you very easily. It's not glutinous. It's gluten free.
mm-hmm.
So and I cook it in coconut milk, and I put a little bit of cayenne pepper in there with some little bit of onions chopped up, just to give it a little flavor. Maybe some garlic peg chopped up also,
Nice.
and maybe some cilantro and parsley leaves chopped up. And so you're trying to keep it herbal, and with some flavor.
Yep.
And it makes a nice little warm dish. And then
Sounds
you have your
delicious.
tomatoes, your avocado, your cucumbers, your asparagus. And if you have corn on the cob, be blessed, guys. Don't think that all corn is bad for you.
Yeah.
I understand that corn has a horrible rap. And I know that they have done terrible things with corn, but corn itself, eaten raw, if you can find yellow organic corn, enjoy it every so often. It actually has very healthy fats, and it's hydrating in its own way when it's raw, but it's very fibrous and it's wonderful for the gut. Chew well. Okay, so things like that, and even in the my evenings, I end with fruit always. So again, it may be pomelo again at night if I have that, but I think pineapple is another one I may, if it's when it's in season, pineapple. What watermelon's in season is watermelon.
Yeah.
So right now I have blackberries, blueberries, grapes. Sometimes I'll have strawberries there, only organic though. I don't really do too much strawberries unless
Mm,
they're organic and they look good, because they can really just not be good. They
right.
can be taken off too green, and then they don't ripen. They just waste it. So you have to choose your fruits wisely. You have to know when a fruit is healthy by looking at it, by touching it, by smelling it. Different ways to decide when a fruit is ready to be eaten. So that's my day pretty much, I think.
Very
Like
nice.
literally, that's kind of what I go through. And
Yeah.
also I go through days where I have a craving. So I have chickpea wrap. Like I don't make
Mm,
it myself. There's a little vegan restaurant and they have an amazing chickpea wrap.
yeah.
I guess it's chickpea masala. And it's amazing. It's
Nice.
tomatoes and onions and parsley and chickpeas, and it's in a naan wrap, and I know the naan is not always vegan, although this is a vegan place. I hope it's
Mm.
vegan. I need to ask her. I never thought about it.
If it's a vegan place, yeah,
I
probably a
know.
good chance.
It better be vegan. I think
Yeah.
it's vegan. But it's
Nice.
so amazing, but it's expensive. But it's
Mm.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. If that's one of the reasons, people want to make things at home, for the
Right.
most part, because like you said earlier, people say it's expensive and things. So yeah, if you wanna make it as affordable as possible, yeah, make stuff at home. But I mean,
Right.
if you found a great thing, then yeah, again, if you got something good, then take advantage. But otherwise, yeah, making stuff at home is great too.
Oranges and tangerines also, by the way. I always try to include citrus in every single day. So if
Cool.
it's not an orange, it's 3 or 4 tangerines throughout the day too. In between appointments. That's kind of how I eat. I'm
Nice.
nibbling,
Yeah.
but then I stop at the end of the day. I try to be done by 7 or 8, whatever the sundown. And right now it's 5:30, but around 7, I usually try to have the last meal.
Gotcha. Yeah. Same here. Same here. Very nice. Well, thank you for sharing all that. That's very inspiring. And so did I hear right? You have the avocado tree in your backyard?
Yes, I have a huge avocado tree, 35 years old, and it has
Wow.
these great big avocados on them. So if you know anybody who wants to come and climb,
Yeah. I I I don't, but I can't imagine I'm sure there's a lot of people
there
around
must
there
be
that probably do.
somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's so cool. Do you have any other fruit trees in your?
Let me see. Right now, I have bananas and no, 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 peppers, little Scotch bonnet peppers. Yeah, the actual mulberry,
Nice.
the mulberry tree, and then I think that's it for now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in that season where kind of in between growing and again with
Uh-huh.
the weather and stuff. So yeah,
Gotcha. So cool. One of my dreams to have fruit or to have fruit, yeah, but food just growing in my
growing.
on my
Right.
property. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So Annie says, can the 7 fruits be throughout the day or only in the morning?
Oh yeah, it's throughout the day, girl. Definitely throughout the day. It's not just in the morning. I would never think I don't want anyone to have that 7 fruit smoothie is only 1 or 2 portions, by the way.
Yeah.
I want you to now have 5 more portions of fruit throughout the day. That 7 fruit smoothie is only 1 portion. So my goal though is to eat more often through the I found it really helps to get that metabolism up. Digestion takes energy, so you tend to kind of I don't know, that's what's happened for me. That's what I see happen. The more
Nice.
I eat, the less I weigh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what healthy eating, that's how it should be, you know?
Yeah.
That's how it
Yes.
should. You should be able to eat till you're satisfied and
Yes.
not, have negative
And
consequences.
that reminds me because sometimes we're not satisfied until we're full. And I
Wow.
never eat until I'm full. I
Mm,
leave room for digestion.
right.
If you're full, there's more likely a way of you feeling indigestion or acid reflux or developing an ulcer even. There are ways that, we cannot hurt our digestive system here because we're eating too much. So
Yeah.
you leave a little space. So people say, oh, I have enough. Oh, I burp. So now once I burp, I'm going to eat more. I'm like, no, the burp means you stop. There's nothing else after that. Now
Yes.
you have some space, but now, yeah, you need some sweet, you need some dessert, you need a secondhand share, third share. We have to control that, this hand to mouth thing here. You
Yeah.
really have to. Yeah.
Yeah, great point. And I think people's perception of being full is a little skewed. And I think a big part of that is dehydration, right? What we've talked about at so many points in this discussion is make sure you're hydrated. A lot of times people mistake that for not being satisfied or not being hungry. So if
Right.
you're fully hydrated, you should have a better sense of that satisfaction state.
True.
All right. Dulce says, yes, hard to do a cold plunge though. Oh, do you do those cold plunges at all?
I haven't done it. I think I did something similar, but it was not. This was so long ago when I was younger. I wasn't really aware. I didn't know anything back then. I was only probably 17 when I did my one-time experience. And yeah, to me, I hate that.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
I hate that. But I like the cool rinse in the shower
Yeah,
because the cool rinse is not cold and you do it gradually so your body can adjust. You don't just shock it.
right.
You slowly turn it to that cooler temperature that you're able to bear, and you make sure it goes over the entire body. But the cold plunges, I don't think it's good or bad. I mean, because I don't have any experience in it, and I do know people who do it, and they say so many wonderful things about it.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten into more, to studying the effects of that.
Okay. Yeah, same. I'm in Minnesota and I still don't do it. So there's plenty of opportunities around here to do that, but I haven't quite gotten into that yet. So um Chantel says, question, I am treating someone with MS with fruits and herbs. Any tips to support him more while he cleanses? He's a US client.
Hmm. So I would go right to looking at bowel movements here.
Mm,
When someone has MS, it's, to me, that's chronic constipation, years. And that is very much the condition. I feel like I say the gut brain connection. It's very much important to clear out the bowels. So if you have the ability to have him take pictures and you can send them to me, I'll be happy to give you a couple, some analysis and no charge, to tell you what is happening, if it's helping or not. Because we can be on a high fruit diet and still be constipated. I've seen
right.
it.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times. So until you see the bowels really catch up, then his condition may not improve. And I've just known people with cancer who go through this, people with diabetes, people with heart issues. I've lost a few people before, and knowing when they give up on saying they can't do the diet and they go back to their regular diets and shortly thereafter pass on. There's some things that we can't let go of. So although he may be doing what you tell him, there may still be things that he's doing that he's not telling you. And unless he's bedridden and somebody's feeding him, his bowel movements are very key. We have to see what's happening there. That would be my advice, is to look at that first.
Yeah, great advice. I would say have him watch this episode because there's a lot of good points in here for him that he could incorporate. I mean, sleep and hydration are two key parts of the healing process. I would just add that in there. Just without knowing anything else. It's hard to go too much into it, but yeah, that's generous of you to offer that to Chantel to send you those pictures. So
Absolutely.
definitely, yeah,
No problem.
Chantel, take advantage. And thanks for the question. Dulce says, Pele, would love to know your lymphatic activation routine.
For me, it's not intentional, right? So, but I guess I do things every single day that affect my lymph, and the main thing comes from the gut. So earlier I meant to say, if I had a number 4 thing on this 6 gut health tips, number 7 tip, number 4 is the body doing Uddiyana. The gut health of the movement of the gut is very, very powerful with the entire lymphatic system, because it ends in the gut. And I feel like you're pumping your blood, you're pumping your lymph when you move your gut in a certain way. Should I do a little demo?
Sure, that would be awesome. Here, I'm gonna put it
Understood.
back. We're gonna take a hop out of the Q&A room, so we'll get this just on LA here.
All right. So the first thing you do is you start with a relaxed belly. And if you've eaten, then you can't do this. So you don't do this within an hour of eating, basically. Or if you're pregnant, don't do it. All right. Otherwise, it looks like this. Okay, so what I did was I inhaled through my nose first. I blew forcefully out my mouth. on empty without taking a breath. I stayed empty. Pull the belly all the way in, suctioned. Now, it was really suctioned in for me because my bowels are really consistent. There, it's not so impacted. But in the beginning, when I first started doing this, it was very hard to pull in, and it didn't look the same, but it was very impactful nevertheless. Okay, so let's try it together.
All right. Yes.
All right, so you can sit, you can stand and bend your knees and place your hands right over your knees if you're standing, because you want kind of to have a brace. So I'm going to hold the chair. You inhale through the nose first. Drop the belly out, let it hang. Exhale forcefully out the mouth. Don't breathe. Now suction the belly up. Drop the belly, then inhale through the nose. And that's basically what you do. You get to rewind this later.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That is terrific. That's a great exercise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like that absolutely affects the lymph. And, you know, we have so many. Oh, by the way, you do know that we have most of our lymph in the gut. Like, I had a stepfather that I love dearly. And, you know, we kind of lived this lifestyle of lots of food, lots and lots of food. And he had the biggest stomach. And he was diagnosed with stomach cancer and colon cancer when he was 62. And I remember he called me up one day and he says, Rosie, what did you say I should eat? Watermelon? You know, like, it was like months before he was going to pass, you know, and I was like, oh my God, yes, Uncle Philip, watermelon, you know.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know, Rosemary is my birth name, so you call me Rosie. And the goal, though, is that he had, well, the reason I brought him up was that he had stomach pains and he had inconsistent bowel movements, and he was smoking cigarettes every morning to get his bowels moving. That was his stimulation. Eventually the cigarette stopped working, and then he couldn't have a movement, and then he was suffering with pain because he kept eating, and his colon would contract, but there was a blockage, so it couldn't be released. And he went to the doctor. When he went to the doctor, they took tests and they said, oh, your lymph nodes are all swollen, we need to go in there and do a biopsy. And they go in there and they do a biopsy and they take out 1, 2, 20, 38 lymph nodes out of his stomach, and said, okay, we have to put him back together and send him off to death because we can't help you anymore. And so for the next few months, he ended up dying at home. And he didn't do chemo or radiation. He was happy to be at home and, you know, with his family. And we watched him pass, and he passed in my brother's arms in his own vomit because he was eating and he couldn't poop. And, you know, we don't realize what cancer is. We think cancer is something special. It's nothing special. It is severe constipation. It is when you cannot eliminate stuff from your body. It is when you are blocked. Cells and nerves cannot exactly regenerate. That's what I have as my metaphor or antonym or whatever the word is for cancer. Cells and nerves can't exactly regenerate. And that's not happening because we're toxic with acidosis. And we get acidosis because we have a lot of digestion happening inside the body, trying to break down food that is stuck in us that can't move out. And that's where it comes from. I really, really wholeheartedly believe this. I saw my sister also pass from this. And I had friends, I had seen an 8-year-old pass from cancer. Listen, there are so many things that we can control. And if we think that we don't have cancer, listen, you can just be constipated for one day and it will cause constipation for the rest of your life. One bad meal can really do a havoc on our systems if we don't get it out. And sometimes we don't get it out for months. All right. I had a lady once who had shown me her movements. It took 3 months before I saw a fresh 24-hour bowel movement. 3 months. old stuff for 3 months. And I know she was eating fruit. I know she was. She was thin as me, or even thinner.
Mm.
And she had extended stomach. Finally, it went flat. And I was like, finally, you're catching up. So it took 3 months though. And that's why I say the quantity that you eat is important. It's important when you're so backed up. The only way to, maybe it's not the only way, but that's the way that I found to really help, is to have more fruit, more watery fruit, and less dehydrated fruit, less dry fruit, you know?
Yeah.
Did I answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I went off for a moment.
Yeah, that's perfect. It was perfect. Fiona said she didn't realize that you could eat raw corn. She said, isn't it a bit hard?
No
No?
way, no, how?
No.
Oh my God. Wait till you try it. Oh my goodness. It is not hard at all, because corn actually is, so if it's hard, it's old.
Right.
If
Yeah.
it's hard, it's dehydrated and you got the wrong corn.
Yes.
It's moist, and when you crunch into it, juice pops out.
Sweet. Yeah.
And it's sweet. Yes.
Yep.
You know, it can be a little starchy, because corn actually can be ripe and unripe. And you can tell when you look at corn. I select corn at the supermarket when it has a husk on it. And so I look for the bigger ones. I don't like to take the smaller ones. The bigger ones are some, you know, you have a whole basket. They're picking all of them, and some are riper than others. So the ones that are bigger are riper. If they're fully yellow, I find them to be the safest. And I only look for organic. And if I don't have organic and I have the still yellow corn, I still buy it sometimes and eat it. I'm not going to die from that. Sorry, guys. I don't believe that.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, totally agree. Annie says, is intermittent fasting good for your gut? She does 16-8 every day.
Yeah, I feel like intermittent fasting is amazing. I think it's amazing for us. And I think that's a great way to, you know, control how much we eat. And it makes you more conscious too, though, I hope, of what you eat. Because some of us are intermittent fasting and still eating crap in those 8 hours. That's what I'm proud. That's what I have a problem with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. It's definitely from what I understand, it is very beneficial for your gut. Let's see. Chantel says, thank you. Tessa says, how many bowel movements are too many per day?
All depends on your state of health, right? Because if you are having one full movement and you don't have another one for the whole day, that's perfect. That's how many I think we should have. One, because we're adults, we're not babies. Babies should go after every meal, because their digestive system is short and their food is easier to digest. It's liquid, you know, so it should move through pretty quickly, and therefore they'll have a movement. I remember my daughter, she would poop every time I fed her. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's a lot of work.
Okay. You know? All right. And I was breastfeeding for 7 months, and that's it. 7 months, I was like, no more. It stopped producing milk. I was under stress. I was not eating right back then. I was still eating a lot of dairy, a lot of meat. So I probably could give more breast milk had I been eating better. But if you are having a partial movement in the morning and you're going again, and it's after your meal, for example, and you're going a third time, you know, it's not that it's bad to have that many movements. It's okay if there's no pain happening, if there's no blood, if you're not losing weight, you know, but you do want to strengthen your morning movement if that is happening. And to do so, you do require to consume more fruits throughout the day, is what I find to be helpful. Adding a smoothie, having a fruit before bed, like 2-3 hours before bed, as the last thing you eat. You know, have fruit as the last thing you eat. And so it's not necessary. Like, I knew a lady who did detox with me, and she was going 8 to 9 times a day. Now that's too much. And she was having other symptoms. There were problems. There were things happening for her. And she basically came because she had been for a whole year having bleeding in her stool. And she kept pooping after every single thing she ate. And she lost a lot of weight.
Mm.
So that's a problem, and to this day, she, she healed a little bit and then ended up going back on dairy. And so now she's gained the weight back, but I don't think her gut health is healed.
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying the last time that it was still something that she's working on. And so, you have to be in it for the long haul. That's what I realized. Healing does not happen in a certain amount of time. Okay. It's not about 7 days, 3 days. The doctor says this day. Oh, I should be better by now. Oh, I think I should be better by now. The doctor said, no, it doesn't matter what you think, right? Your body has its own process, but you're either helping it or you're hurting it. You could be in the way. And every time you take a pill, you're in the way. You are stopping healing.
Yep.
So, did I answer that question?
Yeah, no, that's terrific. It kind of goes with the next one. We'll do a few more. We're getting,
Sure.
it's been I don't want to take up too much of your afternoon. So
a couple hours now, huh?
Yeah, it
Wow.
has been. It's been a great show. Thank you so much for your time. Let's see. Music Monster Man Ryan says, "What's better for detox? High fruit or high greens, veggies, omega-3 diet?" He might do another cleanse beginning in January, so he's curious.
High fruit, fruit. That's my goal. That's my answer right there.
Yeah, I agree. Fiona says, "If I understand correctly, you eat asparagus raw. If so, how do you usually eat it? On its own or combined with other ingredients?"
Yeah, so I love to blanch it. That's my preference. I prefer blanching, and blanching is hot water, boiling water, and you put the asparagus in for 1 minute. You just take it right out, and it's not soggy, and it hasn't lost any nutrients. I mean, maybe it has broken down some of its fiber so that you're able to chew it better. That's what I find is best for me. People who eat it raw, I say that there's nothing wrong with it as long as you are chewing it well. I do, however, know the ends of the asparagus can be very hard and fibrous, and so that may be hard to digest. So I would say to cut that part off. It's about 1/2 inch to 1 inch at the end. But the stalks, 5 to 10 stalks, I may eat with other foods, my tomato, my avocado, my cucumber, maybe some black rice, and that would be a meal. That tends to be more of a staple for me. But
Nice.
mostly blanch my asparagus. Yeah, I like that part a little bit warm because I'm not 100% raw, as I mentioned before. So I do like some warm foods. That helps to get over that need for something hot.
Yeah.
Like I need some steak. Let me have some asparagus.
Yeah, totally. Sidewalk Chemistry says, "Could Pele talk a little bit about her crystal practice and how she integrates that with her holistic lifestyle?"
Oh, I wish I had a practice, guys. Let me first explain to you something. I've been collecting. I've been a collector of crystals for many, many years and never realized it. Okay. I never realized it. Last year, February, last year, February, my mom passed, and her name was Gem. Her nickname was Gem. So she had a lot of inspiration to me in my life. And I mean, it was quite hard, to take that death.
Yeah.
And this past Christmas, right after it, I was giving gifts to clients, and I decided I saw something for sale that was crystal oriented. So I got some really cute crystal gifts and I gave it to my clients, and they loved it. They loved the gifts. And I was so happy because these are people who have everything. They don't need anything, but they love the little crystal gifts I gave them. And I was like, wow, this wasn't the first gift I've ever given them. And usually in the past, they'd be like, I don't need that. These ungrateful people.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like you shouldn't have wasted your money on that.
Yeah.
But this time they actually took it with love.
Nice.
And then I got to thinking about the desire for crystals. Like I wear stuff. I wear quartzes. And when I buy earrings, they're not expensively, they're not expensive. They're just like quartz. They're amethyst or citrine. The one I really bought for its benefits was pyrite. Which is the grounding stone. So I would wear it whenever I gave massages on my neck and stuff. And whenever I have a speech or something, I would wear it. It helped me to really kind of focus. And so in my own practice in life, I wasn't saying like, I'm going to wear this today because of this reason.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way they look. I love the way they feel. I love the beauty that it brings to me, and it resonates off of me. I feel like a brighter person when I wear my crystals. So that's why I like them. I don't necessarily think like I have any particular ritual that I would do, with them per se on a daily basis or anything, just to have them in my presence. I have them in my bathroom. I have them in my bedroom. I have them on my windowsills, and they're in the kitchen. They're outside. They're by my pets' bowls. Like they're just kind of everywhere. And, I never maybe took a really deep look into the greater meaning of it. But I do know for me personally, my life in the last 20 years has done nothing but soar. Like in every way, everything has been wonderful for me. I guess one thing that hasn't soared is that I need more rose quartz, because that brings in love.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah, I'm still single. But I still do love my singleness, though I really do miss companionship.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't want to put all this weight into wearing rose quartz to bring me love. Like I'm not like that.
I don't think you need it. I don't think you need it.
Exactly. Somehow, some way, he'll show up.
Yes. For sure.
That just got me a hot flash.
Yeah, there you go. Well, let's cool you down with this question. Annie says, do you eat microgreens or sprouts? Microgreens are a big part of my greens, she says.
I don't. I really don't. I can't chew them. I personally, I meant to talk about this teeth health. I used to eat, like I said, the standard American diet and heavy dairy, heavy meats, high acidic diet. And by the time I was 28, I'd already lost 4 teeth. And that was before I became a high fruitarian. And when I became a fruitarian, I lost 1 tooth in the first 6 months. But I don't attribute that to becoming a fruitarian, because in all these years, I have not lost any more teeth. All of my teeth are here now, but the 4 I did lose are my molars. 2 here, 2 here. So I cannot use those to chew very well, you see? So if I try to chew microgreens with these teeth, it's different. I know, and I'm not into dentures. I'm not going to I watched my mom for like 20, 30 years wear dentures and suffer greatly with her gums and the pain and the glue and the falling out and the can't find it. And
yeah.
I don't want to go there.
I don't blame you.
I tried implanting a tooth, and I got as far as putting the crown on. I went to have dinner one night, and I had a bite of bread, and it cracked the implant.
Oh no.
The tooth fell out, and I said, I'm not going back, because those dentists, the time they put the implant, they gave me 9 injections to numb me, and I was still not numb, guys. They screwed in an implant into my gum without me being fully numb, because this man was rushing to go deal with 3 or 4 other patients. Anyway, because of that experience, I didn't want to bother going back. And I just suffered with this steel stuck out of my gum.
Wow.
And for about a year and a half. And it wore down my gum. And eventually I decided that I have to just have it removed. And I had it removed. And I haven't had anything else done. And so far, all my teeth are here. I'm doing amazing. Can you see?
They look great.
But my point is, that's why I probably don't eat microgreens, because I can't chew them off. And I really believe that needs to be chewed really, really well. Okay, if you're going to eat them, please chew well, guys. Please chew well.
Yeah, I have a very similar experience in terms of my dental health and just oral health in general. It was not good. And since I've been on this lifestyle eating a high fruit, vegan, fruitarian style diet. I haven't had any teeth issues. Actually, my gum health has gotten way better. I haven't had any cavities, and it's been almost 13 years now. So, yeah, just
Wonderful.
another
That's what
anecdote.
yes.
Uh,
Yes. Beautiful.
yeah. Music Monster Man says, how does she feel about cooked plant-based versus raw? I usually eat whole grains and beans, more like a Dr. Greger approach, but also lots of raw fruits and vegetables. Will this cause constipation?
You have to tell me that. Are you having constipation? Because each person is definitely going to respond differently based on how well they chew. I don't see that as a problem if you are chewing well and if you're getting enough fruits in throughout the day also. It sounds to me like you're trying to balance it out. And like I said, I still do eat some, raw cooked foods also. I'm still able to have an arm's length odor-free bowel movement on rising before consuming anything every morning, even though I may eat something cooked. So it's all about how much time you spend when you do choose to eat certain foods. And so, yeah, carbs and starches can cause sluggishness. They can cause a blockage, and they can cause parasitic infestation and mucus development in the gut. That is my concern with it also. I stopped eating a lot of flour-based foods. That's very sparing in the diet. And I loved it. I used to eat lots of pasta, lots of rice, lots of bread. And those three things I had to minimize. And when I choose to eat it, I make sure I have tomato, cucumber, and avocado after, or oranges or grapefruit, have something that will hydrate the bowel, because they also introduce digestive enzymes that help to digest those foods too. So you're helping your system. I believe that, that's one thing I hear so many people talk against is eating fruit after cooked meals. But that's one thing I've been doing for 20 years. If I eat cooked foods, I eat fruit after. And that has been the best thing for me to have this body, this strength, this amazing bowel movement system that's constantly happening. And when it's not good, I know why. Like, I remember what I did. And so it's through experience. We have to study ourselves. We are the study. You have a question, look at yourself. What is happening for you?
Yeah, well said. Fiona says, what do you think of enemas?
Oh, I love that question. How could we not have talked about this?
Yeah, that didn't come up at
Oh
all.
my God. All right, my phone is about to die. Let me do a little
Oh,
thing here. Bear with me.
that's when I've let the show go too
You're
long.
pushing the pedal.
We're about to wrap up, so
No, enemas, we have to talk about that.
yes, for
So
sure, for sure.
yes, in the beginning, I 21 years ago, my yoga teacher was a very big fan of colonics. So she was a massage therapist, teacher, and she was a yoga teacher, and she was a colonic irrigation specialist. So she gave me my only two or three sessions of colonics over about a month period. And it was the worst experience of my life. I hated it. Oh my God, it hurt. It was so uncomfortable. And oh my God, you have to put that in my butt. Oh, this is not natural. Okay. So, but she also taught me how to use a nasal syringe, a baby's nasal syringe, that little blue tube, like with a little tubular nostril thing there, that you can put water in it, you lubricate it, and you can squeeze it up your butt. Just a little bit of water, hot water, can stimulate you without doing a whole big old colonic irrigation treatment, if you are so backed up that you need a little support. Or if your child is sick with a fever, or if you have a headache, that bowel movement that it can cause a child to have absolutely will break the fever. I've seen this happen a number of times, my own child and many friends' childs and many clients' children. It's amazing because it's not the enema, it's the movement. It's what the enema creates. So if you can create it by eating a certain food, I would rather that. Enemas are okay if there's no other option. If you have no fruits around and stuff and you're backed up, and you really have stomach pains and cramps, you give yourself a little belly massage. You do some Uddiyana, and maybe then you can give yourself a little water enema using that small bulb syringe. You don't need a whole cup of water. You don't need a whole gallon of water, which is what happens when we do the colonic irrigation. I remember being so like swollen all over. I was like, the water that she pushed up in me was like everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening?
Oh, wow.
I'm highly aware of what happens to my body. I am a scientist at heart. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at every angle, everything that happens, the side effect before and after. And so like, I just wouldn't do it again. I have used the bulb syringe enemas for myself many, many, many years ago, and haven't needed to do that either. But for children and people who don't have an alternative, or they want something simple and natural and quick and effective, and that can be very effective. So, it's better than taking all these medicines and chemicals that force you to have this hard, horrible contraction. You're actually putting a little bit of water up there, just a little, not too much, So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, great answer. Tessa says, do you ever eat blanched broccoli?
Broccoli blanched. Okay, so yeah, I don't go for it often. I prefer if it's just the stem of the broccoli raw, and I put that in the smoothie. I don't eat the florets of the broccoli unless I'm forced. And that was a joke. But because the formaldehyde is naturally occurring in the head of the broccoli, it tends to be the most toxic part of the broccoli. So I stick with the stem part. I remove the florets, and I'll eat the stem. I may blanch that, yes. But you know what? I personally, broccoli is not a part of my diet on a regular. If I go out to eat, or if someone's making food and they have it, then I'll eat it. But it's not something I do regularly. I do know that it can be goiterogenic. And so I avoid it because I do realize that like for me, I think that's something that can be hazardous if I have it on a regular basis and eaten the wrong way. So I just don't have too much of it, and I just tend to eat the stems. And like I said, raw stem is the best way in the smoothie. Also, by the way, even though it's not a fruit, every so often I'll put a 1 or 2 inches of the stem of the broccoli raw in the smoothie, and it's amazing. The flavor is really beautiful. It's not vegetable-y as we may think. It's and it adds so much health to the smoothie also. Indole carbonyl 3 is what is present in the stem of the broccoli.
Very nice. Okay, last question from Music Monster Man says, what do you think the best way is to begin this lifestyle? Some say juice fast, some say water fast, others say just eat raw foods and don't worry about it.
Yeah, so we put so much into being told how to eat. We require somebody to tell us, but we're not looking within and going back to nature naturally. We've been grown with your parents always told you what to eat, the doctors told you what to eat, media is telling you, and so now you want us to tell you. But really, there is an instinct that we're not listening to. The instinct of getting back to nature, getting back to the basics is what I think is the first thing that we should be doing, is to remove processed and cooked foods slowly over time, get into your raw foods, and then high amounts of fruit, or higher amounts of fruit over time. I don't think you should just jump into a juice fast. I don't think you should just jump into a fruit fast either, or just jump into all raw. And even if you did, the reason I don't think you should do it is because you don't want to get into a state of too heavy a detox unnecessarily. You can take your time and ease your way through this without going through crisis. And I know a lot of people go through healing crisis and think that they don't have any healing crisis. Like not being able to sleep is a healing crisis. That is a really hard one, especially when you have to wake up very early and you work a very tedious job, or you're in construction, or, if you're a bodybuilder and you can't rest, there's a problem with that. And you'll say, oh no, I'm fine. You just ignore the healing crisis. The slightest changes that are disturbing us, we tend to either medicate or ignore. So the best way I found for me, especially over the years of doing it myself, I took it slow. I even still ate chicken for a while I was still going through my raw lifestyle, because this was before I went 100% fruitarian.
Yeah.
I basically took about 3 months to let go of all flesh. I took a let go of beef, let go of pork, I let go of the seafood, and then I was stuck on chicken. And chicken was the worst of all. And now I don't eat chicken at at all. Chicken is, to me, like so toxic to us, and we don't even know how bad it is.
Yeah.
But in any case, then you take out the caffeine. The caffeine is really destroying us, and
Yeah.
we're being led to believe that it's healing us and it's good for you and it's going to keep you young and vibrant, or whatever the hell they say. I am not in it. I am not with it, and I don't agree. From what I have seen, it has only led to adrenal gland fatigue and a lot of illness, especially with the nervous system. Okay, so in removing that, and then look at your starchy foods and your sugary processed foods and try to eliminate things that that is not natural. It is clogging your bowels. So when you eat it, should you eat it? Are you trying to open the bowels or clog your bowels? So you have to make a decisive decision on your own. You have to look at each individual food before you eat it and ask, what is it doing to me? How do I feel after I eat it? And can I poop tomorrow morning? So I think it's very important to go slow. And if you want to make it a lifestyle change, then you have to go slow. If you jump into it, some people jump in and then jump out. And so it all depends on how much you're able to let go of your addictions. You got to go into it and slowly over time let your things go. And don't put a time limit on it. Do yourself a favor and get out of the way of trying to put, deadlines. We put deadlines and you end up dead. I'm sorry, I gotta go. Just take it day by day, bite by bite. Be conscious of every bite and just allow yourself to go through this, letting go of meats, letting go of starches, letting go of caffeine, letting go of dairy. Actually, dairy was my first thing. Dairy was the first thing because I was so addicted. So yeah, and while you're doing all this let go, you are bringing in the fresh raw foods. You're bringing in the fruits. You're bringing in the raw veggies. You're bringing in some cooked veggies and fruit tubers to help, alleviate the cravings for your cooked meals. And so you can have some soups, you can have some teas, but really, your juices, you keep it simple and try to just drink water. If you need to drink something, get your distilled water. This is just, I find, a great way to ease into it and then get to your all raw. And if you can stay on all raw for a month, that's amazing. And then try to do all fruit for a month. And then maybe you go into your juice fasting then. So take your time and go through this. There's no rush. You have your whole life ahead of you. Yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, no, I would agree wholeheartedly. I think that's perfect advice. I did a very similar thing. I kind of transitioned slowly. It took me probably, overall, like till I really got a good feel, it was probably like 8 to 12 months. So yeah, so I just kind of I got rid of dairy first, and then like meat after that, or yeah, meat. Yeah, so I just kind of incrementally got rid of certain things until and then I did a juice fast, and then I felt really good and went from there. So yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for those incredible answers, all this information you've shared over the last couple hours. I appreciate you, Pele. And we are now going to, yeah, I can
Thank
tell.
you.
I can tell you're great at it.
Thank
Yes. So let's give away some gifts really quick here before we log off. All right. So again, this is going to be 5-Star Digestion ebook and the crystal bracelets that you guys are going to get. So look at that. So cool. All right, I'm excited. Here we go. So again, I just kind of let my mouse scroll through the chat and land on whoever it's going to land on. And the first one is Music Monster Man. Music Monster Man.
Yay!
There we go.
Gotta get
So
your colors in, Music Monster Man. I want to know what colors you like. When is your birthday, so I can get the ones just for you, and what size your wrist is. Gonna be important
perfect.
too.
All right. All right, let's see who's next. And everybody that wins here, just you can send me an email at matt@myrawintuition.com, and then I can get you forwarded over to Pele, and then you guys can coordinate, addresses and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So, okay. Or if you have a direct email you want to give out, that, either way works.
Well, gemscrystals120@gmail.com works too.
Okay. There we go.
And that's why I had mentioned my mom's name was Gem, by the way, because I opened a business in her name called
I
Gems.
love that.
Gem Crystals. Yeah.
Love it. That's great. Okay, the next winner is Annie. Annie Beard, you are the winner of.
Congratulations, Annie.
Yes. All right. There's number 2. Who do we got next here? Let's see. All right. Drum roll. It is Fiona. Fiona.
Ooh, Fiona.
There we go. 3 lucky people. So again, you'll each get an ebook copy of 5-Star Digestion, and then you will get the packet of bracelets from Pele. So congratulations, everybody that won there. That's so great.
Here.
Yes, thank you for all the great questions that you guys always bring. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all had a good time, and I hope you learned a lot. And I hope you will go follow Pele at all her different, platforms and resources. She's always giving out great information. So definitely give her a follow, give her your support. And yeah, thank you again, Pele, for being here. Is there any last parting words you would like to share?
Oh, I think I said them all, but I'm just going to go with the 7 fruits a day in the colors of the rainbow and try to do that throughout the day. And make sure you get your bowel movement in first thing every morning. And if you don't, then use a little bit of water enema to get you going, because you want to catch up. And thank you guys for being here and allowing me to be here, Matt. I really appreciate this. I mean, this is my passion. And I think that there's so much that we just don't realize or know for ourselves. And I just want to share what I've learned over the years. And that's why I'm here. So thank you.
Yeah. And again, I mean, you've got so much valuable wisdom and information and knowledge to share. So that's, I think anybody that comes across your information and your message is only going to be better for it. So again, I hope everybody here goes over and follows you and, learns from you. So thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. All right, everybody. Again, thank you for being here. We will see you next week, same time, same place. Stay tuned for next week's topic and guest. It's going to be a good show. We will see you next week. And always follow your raw intuition.